Hey y'all, it's Riley. So, this is going to be an update, and I hope it's a quick one because I've got 25 minutes of video available to me on my phone because I don't have a lot of memory on my phone or in my head. Lots of reasons for that one. We'll get into that later, I guess. Either this video or another video down the line. But I don't think that I want to make this too long. Just a quick update. I'm hoping. It's pretty late. It's about 1 in the morning. I'm staying the night at my folks' house with my kids tonight. There's a reptile show or expo or something tomorrow, and my uncle had left a giant iguana. We call it the dino. Anyway, he left it here at my mom's for her to take care of. And she's got so much on her plate, and really just, she has no idea how to take care of an iguana. She's not a herp person. She's a mammalian caregiver for the most part. If it's born with fur and a need to suckle milk, she's got warm fuzzies for it. Does that make sense? Is that weird? Did I say that all weird? Because it made sense in my head, but I think that the words just got all mixed up as they came out. Alright, let's start over. Anyway, there's an iguana here. It's very large, and I was tasked with finding it a home. So I found an amazing new home for it tomorrow. I'm going to take this little miniature dinosaur to this reptile expo show thing. I don't know. It's not my bag, but I think it's great for people who are able to care for these animals who have been abandoned. I'm not a big fan of breeding them. But if they've been abandoned and rescued, and there are people who know how to take care of them, awesome, great. More power to you. Bless you. There's definitely a place for everybody in this world, and if you know how to rehab and rescue an animal of any kind, you have my heart. So there's somebody who actually helped set up the reptile expo show thing, and she said I would love to give the dinosaur a new home, and sent a picture of where the iguana will be living, and it looks like paradise for a green male iguana to live in. He's gonna be so happy. So happy. I'm really, 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 really happy for him. If I were in his shoes, I think I would just be blissed out once I get into my new habitat. It's giant. It's bigger than this garage. And it's just full of iguana safe plants and places to climb. And it's got just the right substrate on the ground. It's a greenhouse, essentially, that's attached to their house, and it's phenomenal. I could not have sought out a more perfect fit for this dinosaur, and they saw my posting on a local group for our state's reptile classifieds, I guess. I don't even remember what group it was on, but they said, hey, I think I have the home for this amazing dinosaur, and it's a perfect match. So that's why we're here tonight. That's why I'm in the shed. Long story, even longer. Don't know why I had to get into that. That was silly, huh? So I'm out here and everybody else is asleep. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Or at least I hope the kids are asleep right now. Everybody else inside is asleep. And I'm having a hard time, to be honest. Right now my anxiety is pretty high. It's pretty high. And when I started doing these videos, I said that I was going to be honest about where I'm at with physical health and with mental health and all of that, because I really want to break the stigma of mental health being negative. I think everybody has their own level of mental health, whether it's 100% mental wellness or really, really deep mental illness, or somewhere on the spectrum. We all have our own levels of mental health. And I don't think that mental health gets talked about enough. The more we talk about it, the less stigma there is about talking about it and about mental illness. About mood disorders, about personality disorders, about so many issues and stuff that people face every day that don't need to have stigmas tied to them, especially things that people actually can't control. So I said I was going to be honest all of the time when doing these videos, and not just with mental health, but also physical health. One of my therapists in the past had said that I was King Optimism, which I find really funny still to this day, because I feel like all I do a lot is whine and moan and complain and I'm feeling this way and I'm feeling that way and grumble. And I feel like all I'm doing is bringing people down with how I'm feeling. And he said to me, Riley, I don't know if you hear yourself. You do a lot of, I'm feeling this way, but it could be worse. I'm feeling that way, but I'm alive. And sometimes it's okay to say, I'm having a really high pain day. I'm having a limited mobility day. And that's where I'm at. And not put a but on it. A brightener. No highlighting. I'm not going to toss some highlight on the shit parts. Because there are shit parts. Everybody has shit parts of their life. And if your shit part is your kid won't put on their shoes on their way to preschool and you have to take them along for the ride, wow. That's just one thing that I heard earlier today. A parent at the science museum that we were at was really upset that her toddler would not put on his shoes by himself. I don't think I can roll my eyes harder at that. If that's the worst part of your day, why don't you feel blessed that your kid has some shoes to put on? Be blessed that you have the assumption that your kid can put them on by himself. That he can put them on by himself, that maybe he just doesn't feel like being rushed. Because most kids want to do things on their own time. Or, just don't want to put on shoes at all because he's a kid. Maybe feel blessed that you have a kid when so many people who don't have kids want kids. Feel blessed that you've got childcare to take your kid to when you need it. There's lots and lots of crap that just I think she's missing out on how many blessings she has in just that one complaint. You know, and I think that's where my old therapist would call me, you know, king of optimism or master of optimism. Moo. I would like to say moo. When I would do it, he would moo, 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 and that was consensual. It was consensual between the two of us, for him to moo at me when I was being, you know, master of optimism, and I know it sounds a little inspiration porny, and I don't like that. I don't like seeing inspiration porn in social media or hearing it from people, so I apologize now if it bothers anybody. But, you know, with so much shit that I deal with, not just my physical health, not just my mental health, but other personal stuff that I may or may not talk about this video, and I may or may not talk about in future videos. It seems like it would just be such a blessing to be able to complain that my kid didn't want to put on their shoes on the way to preschool. Like, if that were the worst thing that I could find to complain about, that seems like a really blessed life. So I just try to think, you know, like, okay, so I had a really physically hard day today. And I'm still breathing. I'm still here. I'm not fighting for my life like so many people I love are. I'm in pain, and it's pretty strong sometimes. But I know that I'm alive when I'm feeling it. And I know that it could get worse for me. And maybe down the road it will. It's a real possibility. It's a very, very real possibility. High probability that it will get physically worse for me. But right now, I'm not there. So even though today physically sucked really bad, and I got to check another thing off my sick milestone box checklist, I know that right now I'm not at the lowest I'm ever going to be physically. I'm not at the lowest I ever was physically. And I was able to utilize the tools that were available to me. And they helped, because I could be feeling pretty damn bad right now. A lot worse. I'm about a 7.5, generally all over. And after my long day at the Science Museum, had I not used the scooter, which was a first for me, using a scooter in public, we'll talk about that in a minute. But had I not, my pain level would be off the charts right now. I would be on too many meds to make this video. So I know that it could be worse. And coming back to that, today, while visiting the Science Museum with my kids, I used a mobility aid, a motorized mobility aid for the first time. And I cognitively don't hold stigma to using mobility aids. I use a cane. I've used a rollator. I have no problem using tools for what they're intended for. And also, I'm learning to say and instead of but. And also, I know that there are a lot of people in public who see a large man, and I'm a large guy. I mean, I'm not tall, but at 5'6" and 275, I'm a big guy. I've got a gut. And really, it's mostly gut. That's kind of frightening. Just the health implications of that is kind of frightening. But I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm fat, and I'm comfortable in my fat. I like my fat. I enjoy my fat. I enjoy who I am as a fat man. Also, I know that when people see fat people, people of size, on mobility scooters, judgment is made. And sometimes it's, a little giggle between teenage kids. Ha ha ha, he's so fat, he can't even walk. And sometimes it's adults who needed a little kindness from their own dads. Or more hugs from their mamas. I don't know. Some parents' children's. That will always stick with me. A friend of mine said, Riley, some parents' children's. You never know. But adults who should know better, talking not so quietly behind their hands about that very obese man, and no wonder he needs a scooter, because his fat ass couldn't get around anyway. Or when witnessing me standing after riding around for a while and me needing to stand up to help my child reach something, or after turning in the scooter because it did not belong to me because I do not have my own scooter yet. There are looks of, wow, he's lazy. Look at that fat guy be lazy. He can walk. Why is he using a scooter? This is all hard for me to process. It being my first time. And I know it's going to take some processing. And I'll probably come back to this. I'm going to need the scooter more. Recently, I found out I have a pretty big tear in my anterior, what's that word? Anyway, the labrum of my hip, of my right hip, and it's a very large tear in the front part that curves its way back, and I have to have surgery. Have to. There's no getting around it. It's degenerative. It's only going to get worse as time passes. It's gotten worse in the past year, just from last year, and it's gotten progressively worse over the years. And we don't really know when it started because I've been having this pain for so long, and I've just ignored it and ignored it and ignored it, thinking that it was just arthritis or something like that. And it's not. I had imaging done, had an MRI done, and they said, wow, listen, dude, hey, you really need surgery for this, because soon you're not going to be able to walk if you don't. So that's on my schedule at some point, and I'm really nervous about actually scheduling it. I'm nervous about having one more surgery. It causes me anxiety. I didn't have this kind of anxiety with any of my other surgeries. Just this one. I'm really feeling it now. That I am pretty much all my kids have. It's me. And I'm alone in that. I get some great help from family. I get great help from friends. But if I weren't here, I don't know what would happen to my kids. And I never felt this fear for any of my other surgeries, and I've had a lot. I've been under general for a few times. But this one, I'm scared. I'm scared of recovery. I'm scared of the actual surgery. I'm scared of how long I can go without it. I'm scared of what if I have it and I still have to walk with a cane, and still sometimes need a rollator, and still someday will need the scooter full time. So I'm seeing that I've got 2 minutes left on my memory for my phone, which is my camera right now. And so I'm going to wrap up this sob fest. We'll come back another time for another video. Thanks for listening. I'm not making these videos for really anybody in particular. I'm making them because somebody said, hey, you should do this. It feels good. And it feels vulnerable. I gotta tell you, this feels vulnerable. This isn't necessarily like a warm and fuzzy feeling. This feels vulnerable. So, yeah, it feels good. I encourage you all to do it. Even if you don't post them, make yourself a video, watch it, and tell yourself, you know what? I love you exactly where you're at. So here's for me. Dude, I love you. I love you right where you're at. And that goes for all of you watching. I love you right where you're at. In one of my videos, I called followers Toasties. I'm going to keep calling you Toasties. So if you want, subscribe. Like the video. You don't have to like it. It'd be cool if you thumbs upped it. It's not a big deal. I'll make another. Soon, I hope. Take care. I love each and every one of you.